So, good evening, everyone. My name is Adrienne Somerville. I'm the CEO and founder of Somerville Consulting Group. Believe it or not, today we are at war on talent. Have you ever wanted to work for someone and thought, although they are awesome technically, they lacked interpersonal skills? Have you ever heard someone say, oh, he's an amazing engineer, although he's not good with people? Our focus is on overcoming the obstacles associated with those interpersonal skills to ensure companies holistically are able to not only hire, retain, and develop the right talent to lead their organizations. So the problem today is that there is a great emphasis of resources in terms of money spent on technical development. We heard certifications today, we heard licenses today, but we've not heard individuals talk about those interpersonal skills associated with leading and developing not only today's current leaders, but tomorrow future business managers. We have 5 solutions that we offer. Talent management readiness. I am an author, best-selling Amazon author, and also internationally requested to speak, hence the books on talent management and how to gain corporate dominance. We go in, we conduct readiness reviews, and identify what those soft skill gaps are in terms of recruiting and also developing and retaining your talent. I offer consulting and mentoring services, and we'll go into that as an organization. And the key thing that's going to propel our organization forward is the future offering of a learning management system. The goal as we move forward into the 21st century is to better embrace technology, digital platform, and data analytics. I'm often requested, as well as other members of my organization, to publicly speak, and I'll talk about speaking engagements and my next book, which is also here and draft, and it is on mentoring and its value. So our market, business to business. Also, we're focused on not only, of course, businesses, but we're also focused on the state and county and city levels. I just signed an agreement with Employ Prince George's, and the goal is to offer training in that form, not only to the leaders in the organization, 100+ members, but also to start to reach out to other industry and business partners across the county. My market will be the human resource specialists, managers, employees, and others in the industry as well. So where you see the lack of an X, you see opportunity for us. All of these existing companies outside of SCG, Somerville Consulting Group, are high-priced learning management system offering companies and also training and development companies. Where we come in is that they can capture a mentoring relationship, but they do not offer one-on-one coaching across any of those platforms except training folks, and they do not offer speaking engagements. You will have to do that outside of this forum, and our organization holistically offers all of those. In terms of sales and marketing, I spent the first part of my business focused on branding and sweat equity in terms of creating my own demand signal on all social media platforms, inclusive of flyers. I have produced 65 video vignettes, launched my own YouTube channels. I do live chats, podcasts, and I just started, signed an agreement with Norfolk State University, NSU and beyond, where I will hold a podcast pilot show focused on developing individuals in terms of soft skills, collegiate, pre-collegiate, as well as professionals. I just launched a virtual STEM City platform with Career Communications Group out of Baltimore, where I will go live once a month in terms of training and development on soft skills. We're about to talk about biases and mentoring in the month of November and December as we approach National Mentoring Month. And then upsell. So one of the things you'll find is when I'm called to speak, which is often, I will also upsell in terms of my book products, inclusive in my base price. So that's something that every speaker doesn't offer unless they are accredited published author and or Amazon bestseller. Revenue, I stay pretty consistent in terms of my revenue. I've not pulled anything out of my business just for situational awareness. I keep the expenses primarily are associated with producing courses. So we created about 3 courses so far. I've done them live, very analogous to this. Going forward, though, I will talk about how I'd like to move that to a learning management platform and the cost associated and the passive income that I'll be able to generate in doing that. Mainly it's associated with creating more classes. I have a repository of about 80 classes I'd like to offer, and so I'm spirally developing them, building them out and deploying them, and benchmarking them across various agencies. So I'm the CEO of the company. I also work with an instructional designer We've created the courses that we've developed so far. She works very closely with me. And then I just wanted to give a heartfelt thanks to Brenda, who made this very possible, and her support and her leadership was invaluable. So let's talk about my milestones. So as previously indicated, I spent the bulk of my time mainly in branding, marketing, and actually sweat equity in terms of my service offering. Now we get real in order to level up. With the grant, I'm finalizing my market list, my portfolio of products, instructional design contract. It's got a unique model. I want to thank Tiffany for this tidbit. But I'm in negotiations with her to keep the upfront initial cost down, that non-recurring cost down, and then also she'll get a percentage of the sales as the courses are sold. Working with the web designer to introduce my learning management platform, to be much more automated in today's environment and offer the classes in lieu of being in person, capitalizing on today's hybrid work environment. Finalizing the classes for distribution, releasing my mentoring book to accompany my upselling in March, just working on the cover and its publication, and then realizing profit by the end of the year. So use of funds, instructional designer, very key. Again, we've got several courses underway. I need 2 going forward. I have others, 3 others that are in demand that I'm going to work with Prince George's County. I need to get those locked in terms of the learning management system. I like LearnWorlds because it's user acceptance tests, its ability, it's interactive, and I think it's going to have a lasting growth in terms of my company and accessibility to our learning model. And then, of course, my web designer I mentioned that's going to move that forward. Lastly, again, the war is on talent, and with Somerville Consulting Group, we will win tonight and always. Thank you.
Adrienne, as always, very tight presentation, lots of information in there. I want to go back and talk about your finances again. And you mentioned that, and I appreciate the essay, that you're not paying yourself yet. So when you're not, this is still a side hustle for you,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
When does that change, and then what does that look like down the road as far as scaling this?
So I'm on a 3-year trajectory. I work for the federal government in my full-time job, but I am only good because I'm surrounded by great people. So I have a lot of leaders that work for me, which gives me the flexibility. Since I'm in my most recent high-grade position, 3 years in this position, I'm already eligible for retirement. I know that may surprise people, but I am, and I am out in 3 years. So 2025 is my retirement.
Okay. When are you going to start paying yourself out of this?
In 2025.
So you're going to wait?
Yeah. What I'd like to do is reinvest the money. You know, that's kind of always been my model, to continue to even offer more courses. I was asked to speak in Nigeria. I was talking to someone about that recently. I've spoken in Japan. So I'd like to continue to create that kind of marketplace. I spoke at Iwakuni, Yokosuka, and what's the other one? Think of it. But so that whole demand, that's where I've kind of spent my time investing my own resources in that, to save my resources to build my team.
Yeah, I was going to say, because that one-on-one marketing is going to be time and talent intensive on your side, right? You can only do so much. So that's, I don't know what your plans are for growing that. Obviously, this is what you do for a living. So obviously, there must be a plan. Maybe you can share that with everybody.
Well, and Michelle DeMoss Coward is also equally, she's got 41 years in the business. She is retired, so she does a lot of my full-time training, like she did work with Culture Point recently. In my absence, I did Career Communications Group Women of Color Conference. I will be speaking at the Black Engineer of the Year Conference. Most of what I do is I've been focused on giving back and not charging, just to create the branding, but that will soon change into that demand signal. But in 3 years, I would like to full-time be doing my own company, having retired from federal service.
So in your presentation, you had 192,000 in 2023. Was that updated?
Yes, that was updated.
What was removed from that?
That we realized there was a calculation error in the SCORE financial, so we corrected that.
So, you know, first blush at this, if there's any investment, so is this free cash flow in 2023? Do you anticipate, what was the 2022 number? I don't think I remember seeing that. Is there a 2022 number?
No, there was not.
So if there's any investment, if you do have $72,000 of opportunity, I think going back to her point earlier, you may want to reinvest that instead of paying taxes on $72,000 of income. Tax account will know better than the CFO will. But you may want to look at that because that might accelerate your coming out in 2025, right? I mean, so you don't want to be, so think about your business planning and how you're getting from 0 to 151, especially as a part-time gig. And who's earning that money? How is that, is the breakdown here, is this 87,000 of LMS the real number?
Yes.
Okay, that's a good portion of that. So that's 295. Is that mostly passive, you said?
Yes, yes, because once I can create the courses that we have, you can go down, like I think the lady mentioned earlier, accessibility at your leisure, 2-hour course, $297 a course, and you can just select as many courses as you can handle. We are also working to get certification points in terms of like continuous learning points, that process, so you can get credit for that in your organization.
Yeah, it just feels like with the amount of work that you have to do, that profit number seems a little bit aggressive to me, especially because some of the stuff isn't done. You're going to have a lot of development work. So I don't know.
And I just want to add, some of that is so that's a portfolio of things. That profit number includes like book sales, public speaking, inclusive of books, one-on-one mentoring, which I do a lot of mentoring. I receive Mentor of the Year award. I mentor on weekends. And oftentimes people that work for agencies where they like to have someone outside the agency, my rate to mentor is $150 an hour. And I do a lot of that on Saturdays and Sundays, which is a service that other organizations don't typically offer.
I'm going to hand this off to Ryan because he's going to tell you when he's looking at these applications, he needs to see detail behind the financials. And that's where I'm being hamstrung by the profits on the profit side.
So the questions that I wanted to gear back towards were the ideal customers, right? So I was reading through your business plan. You have B2B and B2G. Are there certain sectors or industry of businesses that's ideal for you? And same for government. Like, who's that ideal customer?
My ideal customer is any business, and I'll say why. Because all businesses have technical expertise resident within their organization, whether it's a nonprofit, whether it's a profit, whether it's a government agency. What most of them focus on is the technical certifications and the engineering degrees or the computer science and or cyber. What we're offering is the augmentation of that in terms of the soft skill interpersonal skill development. So I would not remove any client off the table. What you don't see here is the federal government only because of a conflict.
Yeah, that's what I was assuming there. Now, are there certain size businesses that would be more ideal for you? And the reason why I'm asking just more specific is, as I mentioned to another participant, is I review business plans for SBA lending every single day. And I know if I was to review this right now, I would be coming back asking for what size business, right? Because it may be hard for that one-person operation to be able to afford certain educational level services in comparison to a 10-plus employee size business. So is there a particular size that's more ideal for you, rather than just saying everybody?
I struggled with that, and I still stand behind. I don't think there is a target in terms of size, because if I worked for a large company and I was seeking to learn more, we have a bias training, winning with the removal of bias. It aligns to DEIA. Diversity, inclusion, equity, inclusion, and accessibility is everywhere. So if you worked for Accenture, a large company, and you wanted to download our course for $297, I wouldn't think that's a bad thing. Yeah. But if you were a mom and pop company and this is something you're trying to establish, I would think you could still capitalize on the opportunity.
Okay. Pass it along if we have time.
I'm good.
So is that, can we go back then, is that price per person then?
The $297?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm just going to throw out there the thought of the cost of customer acquisition, and I would think that, nothing against mom and pops, because that's why we're here.
Right.
We love them,
Right.
But you get that Accenture, and they maybe want 50 people to go through that training, and the price to get that customer was still the same probably for your time and effort, right?
Yeah, so I'll give you an example. Although we worked with Culture Point, who worked for the Army customer, instead of charging the $297, which we wanted to for a coaching course, we negotiated a different agreement with them, only because they wanted 50 people. So there's some economies of scale when you're looking at a broader audience. But if you have just a cohort of your EEO people or maybe a cohort of supervisors that just need to get this training, or your DAT teams. We're getting a lot of feedback from the diversity affinity teams in organizations, getting them trained on bias training. That's a smaller cohort, so we'd stick to the 297 model.
And are you doing anything with badging? Sorry, Brenda, but I'm thinking about, like, you're in a technical world, and badging, people love their badges.
Yes,
So
so
I'm wondering if you're doing anything with badging.
it's so funny you said that. So we just decided, very analogous to getting a degree, your core courses, your technical courses would be your core courses. When you start to take these interpersonal skills, you would get a badge we're going to offer one every month. So you would get a badge if you took 5, maybe let's just say you're bronze. If you did 7 for your organization, now you're silver, and we're moving it up. So you would be platinum elite once you get all 12, if you do all 12. So that's something we just introduced last week.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Our second place growth stage goes to Miss Adrienne. So Adrienne, you have won a prize of $6,000. We all think you did a phenomenal job. We want to see that you start to reinvest, since you're not going to spend it on yourself in salary. Reinvest more in what you can do to get to that retirement a little faster. Congratulations.